So what is your health worth? If you only have one body, how much value do you actually give to your body? And if you do give that much value to your body, do you look after it the way you should? So today on the Wellness Shift podcast, we have Mark O'Halloran. He is one of our clients. He's on a membership. He comes in once every couple of months just to have a check-in. And he's got a fantastic story to share with you guys about the importance of really looking after your body. And there's really no time to start looking after your body. Any time is the right time. It doesn't matter if you're 30, if you're 50, if you're 70, any time is a good time. And actually, you can not only stop the decline on muscle mass, on mobility, and overall health, but you can actually increase all of those and go in the opposite direction. Hi, I'm Bruno de Jongh, physiotherapist and founder of CBR Clinics, a physiotherapy and wellness business based in London. We have clinics in Waterloo, Canary Wharf, and Elephant and Castle. And we're really passionate about helping our communities to stay active, pain-free, no matter their age or starting points. And we really work to uplift people's physical and mental well-being through expert physiotherapy and mindset support. Each week on this podcast, we bring you real conversations with clients, physiotherapists, and health professionals to explore what it really takes to feel well and stay well for the long run. So, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to participate on the Wellness Shift podcast.
Delighted to be here. Thank you.
Great. So, Mark, we've been working for a number of years now, and and then you went, and then you've come back now, and now you actually on a membership.
Yes.
And you've come in on a regular basis.
Correct.
So I guess I'm always very interested in finding out what makes people feel that we are the right fit.
Okay.
Maybe it's not from the first session that you go like, oh yeah, this is exactly what, but maybe it takes a few, it's different for everybody.
Yes.
So that's always a question I like to ask people.
Well, it's interesting because the reason I came back to you was, I guess, based on my experience the first time round. So just to put that in context, perhaps a little bit, I had an injury whilst on holiday. I kind of torn my calf, and that seemed to kind of right itself. This is back in, 2013, I guess.
And this is when you first came to see us.
This is when I first came to see you, and I had like torn my calf really badly. Then it kind of seemed to heal, and then about 2 or 3 months later, I remember I was just turning to go up the stairs one day, and my hips went really badly out of alignment. Like one was tilted forward, the other was tilted back, and it felt like my whole spine had kind of shifted like 2 inches to the right, and it was really painful and difficult to walk. And I made my way down to the clinic in Waterloo, and I remember you kind of lay me on the therapy bed, and you were just like pressing under my arm or in my hip, like just almost not even touching me at all. And I was lying there for about 20 minutes thinking, what the hell is this nonsense? And then you said, "Look, get up." And I stood up, and I wasn't completely like healed, but I was. It was. I remember I was reading Harry Potter at the time, and I was just thinking to myself, "This guy's a wizard. He's a wizard." Because I was kind of like fine, and I remember I just walked to work afterwards. Walked over Blackfriars Bridge and up to the city and into work, and that was a bit of a revelation. The reason I guess I came to you initially was somebody recommended you, but then I guess it was that confidence that I got from that experience, that sense that I knew you were using different techniques, the Alexander technique, various other things. So it wasn't just physiotherapy; it was the kind of the appliance of science, if you like, and the confidence I had. So the second time round, I guess, was very different. I was having kind of chronic pain, not badly, but just chronic pain in the hips, and it just made sense that if I was going to come somewhere, it would be to you. But also, I'm not a lazy person, but can all be lazy at times. The fact is, it's also very convenient. It's just beside Waterloo. You're very flexible in terms of the timing and so on and so forth. So it's the combination of, if you like, the confidence, the science, but also the kind of practicality that comes with it. You kind of fit in the recommendations you make tend to be a function of what I know I'll be able to do in my lifestyle. So it's the kind of convenience and the practicality, but also that, if you like, the science. I think that means that's why CBR and yourself feel like the right choice for me.
And I think when you first came as well, you found this, it was word of mouth,
Yes,
right? Because
yes.
Nick had come.
Actually, it was a couple of people that in my local gym, because I think you used to take some classes there back in the day.
You're right.
And so a few people in my gym had suggested they had seen you, and so it was word of mouth, and that's obviously another reason why you have some contact, isn't it?
Yeah. And when you've come back now, you've come back with the lower back pain, and this was
Jeez.
that's okay. And then you've come back last year,
Yes,
and you've come back with a lower back pain.
correct.
So how was that lower back pain affecting you? How was that stopping you from doing the things you wanted to do?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess the most immediate and pressing thing was that it was just chronic kind of pain that would come and go. So when I say pain, it was kind of 3, 4 out of 10, depending on the day, and it would come and go. And also, it was, I guess I had, during the pandemic, a lot of people had gone on, had some time out and were able to do some stuff. But when the pandemic struck, I basically stopped going to the gym like most people, but also my job went from being very relatively busy to being off the scale busy. So I worked like 12, 14-hour days through the pandemic, and it just didn't leave space for anything else, to be honest. So I went through a period of 2 or 3 years also where I hadn't gone to the gym. And I was very conscious that my body just wasn't doing all the things it used to be able to do. Things were beginning to ache, in a way that I just thought, this isn't me. My body had always been very compliant for years and years and years. And then suddenly, it wasn't kind of doing the things that I was asking it to do. And the pain, I guess, the kind of hip pain, the lower back pain, it was, I guess, the first sign of that. And I thought, look, I can either just live with this, or I can go and see someone who might be able to diagnose the problem and help to fix it. So that was the kind of background to it. Fundamentally, Bruno, I guess I just want to be able to do the things that I do now or could do before, but in 20 or 30 years' time. I see it. It's a little bit like brushing your teeth and flossing. I am, if I just do the things that are right now, then I'll still have my teeth in 30 years' time. And that's how I see the work that we do together. It's kind of a bit like flossing, really, which sounds a bit strange, but that's how I see it.
But that's exactly how we see it as well. People go to the dentist twice a year to just have a checkup,
Yes.
or they have a personal trainer
Mm,
and they do it weekly
mm,
because they want to stay on top of their health.
yes.
So we feel the same about physio, that
Mhm.
things sometimes are just starting to maybe go wrong here or there.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you catch it early,
Mm,
honestly,
mm,
I mean, you know this now. If you catch things early, it never
yes.
goes anywhere,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so you're on a monthly membership, so you come in once a month.
Once every
Obviously, once every
2 months, actually. It's
right,
yeah. So I come every other month.
right.
And that's just enough. Sometimes I have a kind of, a massage with you, and sometimes we do a further assessment, and I remember a couple of months ago when I came in and we were doing a bit of an assessment, and again I was on the bed, and you had my kind of feet were kind of against my glutes, my backside, and you said, right, do a sit up, right? And I looked at you just to say, in my head, I had forgotten that was possible. I just thought but Bruno, that's biomechanically, no one can do that, and it's just impossible. And so on the side, I've been kind of practicing that because I realized that was a capability that had disappeared. So yeah, so I do that. I come every couple of months, and sometimes we do some massage, and that's really helpful because just to kind of like, fix a few bits and bobs. Equally, sometimes we do some assessment or a bit of both, and that just keeps me kind of focused. And it's enough for me then to go away and do some work on my own. And sometimes I come back and that's still an issue. We have to kind of update the work. Sometimes that's kind of gone. So and that's how I know it's working.
Yeah. Is that accountability, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well, absolutely, absolutely. And that's it's very helpful, isn't it, to have that kind of reminder, that check-in. It keeps you honest between sessions. I remember I was getting into the car the other day, and I put one foot in the well of the kind of the the driver's side of the car, and the other was on the pavement, and I just kind of squatted down into the seat, and the car's quite a low car. And I thought, I know it's such a silly thing, but for me that was enormous, because that was to squat that low, with my legs kind of like one and in the car and one kind of on the pavement just to get in. I just knew that was something that I couldn't do a year ago. And I was like, it was just such a little win.
Yeah.
And so it's
Well,
nice to find those
massive
little wins.
actually.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Not only your fitness levels, but also the quality of movement of your joints, which should be declining.
Yes,
It's actually on the up.
yes, yes, yes.
So it's actually going the other way.
Yes, exactly. You hear all these things like, you watch Instagram or you watch YouTube shorts, and you hear all these things about, for example, after you get to the age of 50, I'm not sure if it's true for women to the same extent or not or more, but you lose 3% of your muscle mass every year thereafter. And I have to say, for me, I feel like both my strength and flexibility are improving, which is massive actually. So yeah, it's the combination of both of those things.
And that really shows as well, right, Mark? There's no age limit for when you can start improving your body. Sometimes people think, oh, I'm just too old for this, I'm too old for that, or what's the point? But actually, you could be any age.
Correct.
I mean, I've seen videos on YouTube or Instagram as well of people who are 70, have severe arthritis on the hips, they can't move, and then the personal trainer is doing work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And in 6 months, they're doing squats with lots of weights and can move around and do all this stuff. So there's really no limits
Yes.
for when you can start, or
Yeah,
any time is a good time.
I agree, and I would kind of encourage anyone, to be honest, to think about it. Particularly if, I mean, it depends where you're starting from. Some people will have a chronic issue, or sorry, like a crisis, like I had the first time I came to you, where I was, I was kind of unable to properly walk, and in significant pain. Others will just be noticing little changes, perhaps, or might have a chronic issue. And to be honest, you can have a choice, don't you? You can either live with that, or you can just think, actually, I wonder what's causing that. And often what I find like kind of bewildering is that it's often nothing to do. The cause is not necessarily where the issue is showing up. And that whole referral that your body does, it's amazing, really. It's fascinating. You know how, for example, I had that issue with my hips being misaligned, probably caused by the original calf issue, which to all intents and purposes was fine. Maybe not. But it's interesting to have the opportunity to diagnose it, understand what the real issue is with someone who can kind of understand those links in the body, and then and have the opportunity to fix it.
So when people are looking for help, like with a physio or a chiropractor, osteopath, or even like a personal trainer or dentist, whatever, what do you think is really important, or what advice would you give to those people looking for someone? What are they should be looking out for? What red flags or green flags?
I mean, you mean in terms of like why to
When
do?
you're doing like when you're doing your research, and you see, maybe because sometimes people, they don't have a word of mouth referral like you did.
Yes, yes,
They just sort of like, I don't know anyone, my
mhm,
friends don't know anyone,
mhm,
I'm just gonna Google search, and then
yes,
they have 3 or 4 options. It's not nowhere to go.
yes, 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 yes.
What do you say to someone like that?
Well, actually, to be honest, I referred a friend from the gym to you earlier this week, and I'm conscious that the situation is slightly different, I think, from what you described. I think everybody that I know seems to say, "Oh, I've got the perfect physio." I know someone and they've all got stories to tell. So actually, in some ways, it's really there are lots of great practitioners out there. I think, I would imagine so. But then lots of people still have these ongoing issues. So I find that difficult to square the circle. So I think for me, it's a one of the reasons I like CBR is that we talked about those different techniques that you employ. So there's a breadth of techniques that can be applied, and that was important to me. And so that kind of that breadth of the, if you like, the science, I think is important. But I come back to the point I made at the beginning too. If you're word of mouth is really important. That I think that is key. But finding conscious of, you'll ask you questions like, what do you do for a living? How busy is your life? These things are kind of important because it suggests a practicality, which is because the truth is we all start these things with great intentions, and someone who understands the reality of day-to-day living, I think, is important. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's so what I heard is that what's important for you is a therapist who will not just dig in about the problem, but actually try to understand
Yes,
what's your lifestyle like.
yes,
So
yes,
what you do,
yes,
and what are you doing, and how much do you work, and where do you, what kind of activity do you do? They're really trying to understand
yes,
you as a person. What do you do physically
yes.
that could be contributing to this? So really putting everything on the table and just looking at it together with the objective, with the physical assessment, and then finding conclusions.
Yeah, exactly that. And again, look, let's be honest, it's also important for, a friend of mine recommended me someone from a couple of years ago who was somewhere in, really Watford or something, right? Now, nothing wrong with Watford.
Yeah.
But, the truth is I wasn't going to go to Watford on a kind of regular basis. So I can jump on the tube from here at West Hampstead and be in Waterloo in 20 minutes.
Right.
And so yes, it's a mixture of the practicalities and the convenience, but also someone who's going to kind of have the breadth of knowledge, but also then apply it to your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So what would you say to someone who is about to make the first booking, or they're just not sure
Uh-huh.
if they should make a first booking? What would you say to someone like that? I'm sort of on the fence.
It's an interesting question, right? Because I mean, if you were looking and you're thinking, right, okay, this is the right clinic for me, this is the right service for me. The question is why wouldn't you do it, right? And there can be a whole host of different reasons, right? That could be financial, or it could be, it's not that bad, it'll fix itself. And I, you know, I would say to that person, look, the truth is you've only got one body. I know it's such a cliche, but you really do need to look after it. And again, bit of a cliche, but you're worth it, right? You're worth it. Your body's worth the time it will take. And the reason it works for me, Bruno, is because we've come up with a kind of, we've got different flexible arrangements, let's be honest, that make sense financially for me too. So, I would reassure them that there are it's that there are ways around those challenges. But the best thing to do is just to have a conversation. And to be honest, you don't know what you're going to find out. You might find out it's a referred issue. You might find out that it's easy to fix. You might find out that it's that needs a little bit more work. But ignorance is not bliss in this situation.
Yeah, you're right. Those are cliches, but your body is your biggest asset. And if you don't have a functioning, working body, like I have clients sometimes, they come in, they're 30,
Mm.
and they come in and they're like, oh my God, my back's killing me. And I've waited I have a client currently, he's 32, 33. He's had lower back pain for 8 years.
Gosh,
How do you live like that? It's
that's
crazy, right? But so if you're like that at 30,
mm,
what's going to be when you're 60,
mm,
when you're 80,
mm, mm.
right? You're going to be in a
Yes,
wheelchair. You won't be able to
yes,
move.
yes,
So it's an investment in the end of the day that you're doing. It's money well spent. It's
yes.
going to allow you to just go and live your life however you want, right to the end of your days.
Exactly, exactly. We have a good friend who's I think she's in her 70s. I wouldn't like to say her name, obviously, but I think she's probably in her kind of early 70s. And we met her recently. Went to an exhibition, and she kind of we were waiting outside the museum, and she just walked up to us, and she had swagger, and she was kind of moving really. And I thought, you don't. I said to her, look, Vivian, you don't walk, you don't move like a woman of 70 plus. And she said Pilates 3 times a week, and she's been doing it for 20 years. So that was another kind of thing that I just thought, oh wow, wow, the benefit of doing the right things early,
Hmm.
what it means for the
Yeah.
long term,
Yeah.
health of your body and your ability to do stuff.
Yeah. And you do Pilates now as well, don't you?
I do Pilates twice a week, and that really complements the stuff that we do. And I have a great teacher actually, and I often then get them to do some of the stuff or focus on, for example, the hips and flexibility, mobility of the hips and strengthening some of the glutes, for example. And so I can just throw that in, and there's always 10 minutes, for example, of that kind of work in the Pilates class. So yeah, but that really makes a massive, massive difference alongside the work that we do.
Great. Great. Mark, I always find inspiring talking to people like you, who really invested on their health. And I hope that anyone who's listening or watching this now will feel inspired by your story as well. For anyone else, for also our listeners, we do offer free 15 minutes complimentary consultation. If you guys just want to find out what's going on, no commitment, you guys can just book in and we can have a chat. So feel free to do that at any time. Max, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
A
It's been
pleasure.
great to have you
Pleasure.
here.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll see you all next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Take care.